The draft is now over, and oh boy, do we have some opinions.
The Falcons made a big mistake drafting Michael Penix Jr., number 8. My feelings on this are clear. I hated the pick in every way one can hate it.
Now, before we start, just a note. Our greatest picks, we don't include obvious guys like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Rather, we are focusing strictly on guys who are great value picks that should easily outperform their draft spots. So, which 5 picks of the 2024 NFL Draft already look like giant head scratchers, and which value picks are poised to pay major dividends? First, Michael Penix Jr. Literally nothing about this pick makes sense at all. So the Atlanta Falcons just handed Kirk Cousins a 4-year deal worth $100 million guaranteed. That move signals an intention to win now. Hence, Atlanta should have used the 8th overall pick on a player that could help them win now, especially an elite pass rusher like Dallas Turner, Laiatu Latu, or Jared Verse. But the Falcons instead used that pick on boomer bust QB prospect Michael Penix Jr., who is not exactly young for a rookie at 24 now. If Cousins stays healthy and performs well, Penix Jr. is not going to be a starter until his late 20s. Someone, please make this make sense. We would have understood if a QB-needy team like the Denver Broncos or heck, Las Vegas Raiders took a chance on Penix. But why in the world would Atlanta pay Cousins $100 million if they were gonna reach for a QB this early? We honestly can't think of a more questionable top 10 pick over the past decade. Hey, but good luck to Penix and Atlanta on proving us all wrong. Best, Rome Odunze. In most other draft classes, Odunze would have been the first wide receiver off the board, and certainly a top 5 pick. But alas, he's just one of 3 can't-miss wideouts this year, alongside Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. and LSU's Malik Neighbors. Harrison Jr. went 4th overall to the Arizona Cardinals, and the New York Giants picked up Neighbors at number 6. Fortunately for the Chicago Bears, the Tennessee Titans needed an offensive lineman at number 7, and the Falcons lost their minds by taking Penix. But we already covered that. Remember, trade pickup Keenan Allen is only under contract for 1 more year. Even if Odunze doesn't go off as a rookie, he and DJ Moore could easily emerge as a top 3 NFL receiving tandem within a couple of years. You always want to put your young QB in the best position to succeed. Adding Odunze to an arsenal with Moore, Allen, DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, and Cole Kmet tells us one thing: Caleb is bound to take the Bears to the playoffs in year 1. Worst, Ricky Pearsall. Now, we hate questioning one of the NFL's best executives in John Lynch, but this one truly is a head-scratcher. With Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle headlining a prolific offense, pass catcher was not a need here. How about a cornerback to bolster your secondary that has no answer for Patrick Mahomes? What about another edge rusher? Or heck, how about a new offensive lineman since Trent Williams is nearing the end of his Hall of Fame career? If San Fran was so set on a receiver, what made them think Pearsall was a better pick than Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell, Keon Coleman, or Xavier Legette? All 4 of these guys were projected to be late first or early second rounders. San Fran could have easily traded down from number 31 and taken the Florida Gators wideout later on. Pearsall didn't exactly light up the scoreboard in college either. He never hit 1,000 yards or more than 5 receiving TDs in a season. He is far from a finished product. Yet the 49ers wanted him over far more explosive and NFL-ready guys like McConkey and Mitchell? Just makes no sense. Best, Terrion Arnold. The Alabama Crimson Tide superstar was the consensus number 1 cornerback in the 2024 NFL Draft. When you look at how many teams needed a corner in the number 10 to 21 slots, it is absolutely unbelievable that he fell out of the top 20. Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes finally pounced on the opportunity by trading into the number 24 spot via the Dallas Cowboys to select Arnold. It's not just Arnold's skill set that makes us love this pick. It's the fact that corner was an organizational need for the NFC runner-ups. Detroit ranks 27th against the pass last year, but Arnold has the talent to single-handedly make this a top 10 unit in 2024. Holmes already addressed the need for cornerback help by acquiring Carlton Davis in a trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Arnold is the real headliner and newcomer here. Fellow Alabama defensive back Brian Branch showed signs of future stardom in his rookie year with Detroit. Now opposing QBs must account for Branch and Arnold and Davis. Yeah, good luck throwing against these guys, ladies and gentlemen. And we end this entry with this note: it won't take long for opposing GMs to regret passing on the future All-Pro and Mr. Arnold. Worst, Ruko row. No, Atlanta Falcons fans, we don't hate your team. We just don't like the way that your team conducted business in rounds 1 and 2. Not only did Atlanta reach big time for Michael Penix Jr. at number 8, but they also went way off the board by using the number 35 pick on Clemson defensive tackle Hoegler. Making this pick even more baffling, Atlanta traded the number 43 and number 79 picks. Something tells us that Atlanta could have just stayed put at 43 and gotten Hoegler anyway. He's a solid run defender, but he generates minimal pressure. Over his 5 seasons of college ball, Hoegler tallied just 12 sacks. With the next pick, the Washington Commanders took a more talented and NFL-ready defensive lineman in Trezon Newton. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean, and Garen Cooper were among the other superior prospects available. All those guys stand to make longer impacts in 2024 than Hoegler. Best, Cooper DeJean. Terrion Arnold, Quinton Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean were the consensus top 3 corners in the 2024 NFL draft class. Some scouts and analysts even had DeJean ahead of both Arnold and Mitchell. So, with that in mind, DeJean felt like a virtual lock to go in the first round. Well, not only did he go uncalled in round 1, but DeJean had to wait a while on day 2 to finally hear his name. The Philadelphia Eagles already won the draft when they selected Mitchell at number 22 overall. GM Howie Roseman wasn't done there, though, trading up into the number 40 spot via the Washington Commanders, so that way he could take DeJean too. I mean, think about that. The Eagles had the league's second worst pass D a year ago and addressed it by getting 2 of the top 3 corners in the 2024 class, one of which they got at number frickin' 40. Now, I'm no expert, but does anyone know exactly how opposing QBs are going to challenge a secondary with DeJean, Mitchell, and veteran stalwarts Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson? Oh, and not to mention their pass rush remains a problem for opposing linemen too. DeJean might only be a rotational player as a rookie, but hey, that's okay. Philly is thinking long-term here, and DeJean's physical tools, size, and football IQ mean that he should quickly grow into a pure shutdown corner. Worst, Amarius Mims. The Cincinnati Bengals have aced their last few drafts, but we are really struggling to comprehend the decision to take Georgia offensive tackle Amarius Mims at number 18 overall. The Bengals are in win-now mode and need to prioritize players who are ready to start. The Bengals already have 2 rock-solid starters at offensive tackle in Orlando Brown Jr. and Trent Brown, so why bother taking Mims when he barely is going to see any playing time as a rookie? If Cincinnati really wanted a lineman, why not a more polished guy like Washington's Troy Fautanu, who instead went to the arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers 2 picks later? The Bengals had way more pressing needs like wide receiver and edge rusher, especially with T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson both seeking trades. Subsequent picks like Jared Verse, Quinton Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr., Terrion Arnold, and Xavier Worthy are more NFL-ready guys who could have made immediate impacts for the Bengals. Best, Adonai Mitchell. The Texas Longhorns wide receiver was projected to be a late first or early second round pick, and yet, somehow, Mitchell fell all the way down to the Indianapolis Colts in the number 52 spot. Gotta wonder if GM Chris Ballard will send gift baskets to the rival GMs who reach for the other guys in round 2, allowing Mitchell to fall into their laps. Big-bodied receiver should immediately slot in as the new number 2 receiver alongside Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, Indy has needed a running mate for Pittman since his rookie year, and Mitchell might just be the solution here. Mitchell is a deep threat specialist who averaged 15.4 yards per catch in his final season at Texas. He'll do plenty of damage in the red zone, too, taking much of the focus away from Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richardson had a nice setup with Pittman, Taylor, Josh Downs, and offensive-minded head coach Shane Steichen. Now he has 3 capable 1,000-yard receivers and a consistent 1K rushing threat. With Mitchell coming to Indy, all the pieces are there for Richardson to really go off in year 2. Worst, J.C. Latham. Now, it wasn't surprising that the Tennessee Titans took an offensive tackle at number 7. It was surprising, however, that they reached for J.C. Latham. Latham committed 18 penalties over his last 2 seasons at Alabama per Pro Football Focus, so don't get too wowed by the fact that he didn't allow a single sack over that span. In the pros, those flags will turn into sacks allowed. It was stunning to see Tennessee pass on more complete, well-rounded, and NFL-ready linemen like Washington's Troy Fautanu, Penn State's Olu Fashanu, and Oregon State's Talisa Fuaga. They have much higher upsides than Latham, and they would have all been way safer picks. This is another case of why not trade down? Seeing how the board plays out, it feels like Tennessee could have moved down 10 or so spots and still landed one of the top offensive line prospects. GM Rand Carthen did a wonderful job expanding Will Levis's supporting cast by bringing in Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard. But using a number 7 pick on a guy whom many didn't even view as a top 15 prospect was awfully mind-boggling. Best, J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy is a fascinating QB prospect because of how polarizing he really is. On one hand, McCarthy has pinpoint accuracy, rarely turns the ball over, and went 27-1 as the Wolverines' starting quarterback, helping Jim Harbaugh's squad to a national championship victory over Washington in his final college game. On the other hand, McCarthy was not the key reason for Michigan's success. They had an explosive rushing game led by Blake Corum and a top-tier defense, which meant McCarthy rarely had to attempt more than 25 passes in a single game. Those on Team J.J. McCarthy believe that there is more to his game than what the game tape showed. And like any boomer bust QB, the schematic fit matters tremendously for McCarthy. Hard to think of a better landing spot for him than the Minnesota Vikings, who traded up one spot through the New York Jets to snag McCarthy at number 10. Just as countless mock drafts projected, JJ landed here in the Gopher State. McCarthy gets to work with a top offensive-minded head coach like Kevin O'Connell, who oversaw career years from Matt Stafford and Kirk Cousins. Oh, and something tells us that McCarthy will do wonders throwing the ball to the league's #1 receiver in Justin Jefferson, rising star Jordan Addison, and Pro Bowl tight end TJ Hawkinson. Vikings QBs have a long history of underperforming in pressure situations. McCarthy's big game experience and national championship title tell us that he will be built for big moments. Even if McCarthy learns behind Sam Darnold for 1 year, so what? The Vikes can take their time with this proven winner, before he takes over the reins on a full-time basis. But hey, what do you think was the worst pick of the 2024 NFL Draft? And which one do you think was the best? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.